Hi, this is Kathy from Ladies Stamp A Lot. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator in Chesapeake, Virginia. And today I wanted to show you how to make this Christmas card. It's really quick and easy, and it uses the Snow Wonder stamp set and coordinating dies. And I don't know if you can see this. I also used an embossing folder behind there. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the stamping, and for this stamp, it's red rubber, and because this stamp is somewhat large, instead of stamping like this, like I normally would stamp, I'm going to actually lay the stamp and put the ink pad to it this way. This way I make sure I get it all covered. I'm using Memento black ink to stamp the snowman. And then I'm going to take my chamois and clean it off right away. I like to keep my stamps somewhat clean. These chamois you can purchase from Stampin' Up. This is a half of one I just cut up, and I find it easier to clean this way. You can also just stamp it down like you would the Stampin' Scrub. So that's the snowman. And then for the words on the stamp set, the stamp actually says Christmas wishes and joyful greetings. And I just want Christmas wishes. So to do that, I'm going to take a Stampin' Right marker. This is Night of Navy. It matches my cardstock. And I'm going to take the paintbrush end of the marker, and I'm going to, using the side of the brush tip, color over the words that I want on my greeting. So this is Christmas wishes, so I'm just slightly going over this, being careful not to get the other words. And then for good measure, I just like to go over it again in case I missed anything. Oops. And then I'm going to huff, just slightly breathe on it. Put this over here. That when you breathe on it, it kind of puts the moisture back in the ink in case it dried up. Okay, so there's that. And let me clean this off really quick. Okay, now I'm going to bring in the new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine to cut these out. And if you haven't seen it yet, this is the first time I'm showing it on camera. Looks like a cute little purse. It's very lightweight but sturdy. It's steel constructed. These platforms fold up, so you just need to fold the platforms down. And then the best part, I think, is that it comes with a platform that gives you all the directions for your layers. And they're actually color-coded, and it's really easy to use, but I still, for my personal use, added some labels myself because the words are kind of small. So for the dies, we're going to use the base platform 1, the thin die adapter number 2, and then we're going to use our cutting plates. So we're going to put the plate down, and then we're going to put in our paper that we want to cut. So the Christmas wishes, I'm going to cut with this die. Now, I don't have the magnetic plate yet. I'm not sure if it's available, but it wasn't available in the pre-order. So when it becomes available, I will get that, and that would be really nice here. If you have a magnetic platform from the Big Shot, it will work with this new machine. So just that's some good information. But for now, I'm just going to put my dies around the images and very carefully put the top number 3 plate on. And I find that I can just hold this in place and crank it through, and it won't shift. Sorry for the shaking. So, oops. Okay, there's our snowman. See how he has a white little edge all around him? When you get your dies for the first time, it might take a little bit of practice to get it where you want it, to get that nice even edge all around, but it's not hard. Here's how I like to organize my dies. When I get the dies, I go to my copy machine and I copy them so that, and then I put it on a magnetic piece of material, and that way, oh, that didn't work, did it? It's enough to keep them in place in my folder, and then I know if anything goes missing. So these dies cut out the trees, the snowman, the wreath, 2 really nice label dies, and then 2 dies that actually just make snowflake impressions. And if you wait to the end, I have a card that I made using those dies, and some other cards that you'll want to see with this stamp set. All right, so we have that. Now we're going to go ahead and do our embossing folder with the white piece. This is actually 4 by 5 1/4. So we're going to use platform 1, and it's a 3D folder. It's called the Evergreen Forest 3D folder. So you use platform 1. You put in your paper, and what I like about this is it has the line here to get it straight. So I'm going to put my paper in, lining the edge up with that line. And then if you look, the tree line is going to be near the top of the paper. So I'm going to get that in there where I want it, nice and straight. They recommend that you put it through with the fold first. And then with the 3D folders, you need plate 4. So what's nice about this machine is that the platforms and the plates have the directions, which ones you need for which materials. It makes it really easy. Okay, so let me go ahead and roll that through to emboss the trees on the front. Okay. This is always a wow to see these come out. Oops. Just really, really pretty. Really pretty. Now, on my original card, I actually used the Wink Stella pen to add some sparkle. I don't know if you can see the sparkle on there or not, because my pen was running out of ink, so I'm not going to be able to show you, but this is Wink Stella, and it's just a brush with some glimmer paint inside, and it's a clear, this one's clear, and it just gives a little extra sparkle, but I don't have enough to do the card. And if you decide to get one of these, just read the instructions, because there's a little bit of work to put that together, take it apart, make it work. All right, so here's our embossing for the front. Now what I like to do, I said it was 4 by 5 1/4, but I kind of like to sometimes trim it off a little bit. This isn't going to work. I got to use my other one. So I'm just going to trim off a little bit. I'm going to trim it down to 5. And then I'm going to trim a little bit off at this top here. So that's 3 3/4. So that way, if it doesn't look right, or if you didn't get all the way to the end, you can get it to look really, really nice. This is one that's really interesting. Really, really like this. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my card front, which is just a half a sheet of cardstock. Fold it in half, and I'm going to add this to the front. I'm going to want to put this down with a even border all around, and for that I am going to use liquid glue. I find that with these impressions, when you roll over it with your seal, Stampin' Seal, it kind of flattens it. Plus this gives you some time to get it exactly where you want it, so you have that even border all around. So I can put it in and then kind of slide it around. All right, so there's that. And then I do like to give a little press across the bottom. Gets that glue spread around. Now, for this snowman, because I use Memento ink, I can use my blends markers. So I'm going to use Poppy Dark to color in the little berries here. I just think this poppy is such a pretty color. You could use any kind of red. And then I used Clover for the holly, and I do know that Clover is a retired color, but we have plenty of blends that you can use. And if you're really careful, you can use your regular Stampin' Up markers because it's such a small area. I'm going to use, I have here is dark basic black. I wish I had my light basic black, but I'm going to color in his hat. And I personally, when I color a little bit larger spot, I like to use the paintbrush. I can kind of slide into the corners. I don't press down very hard at all. Very light touch. And what's really nice about these blends is even though it's black, that shady line actually peeks through and it gives you more dimension. You may not be able to see that. While I have the black, I'm going to go ahead and do the coal a little bit darker. I just noticed on my sample, I did say I think I used a light basic black. You could also use blue or any color you really want, but I'm going to make these coal pieces stand out a little bit. All right, for his nose, I'm going to use pumpkin pie, using the dark pumpkin pie. And then I added dark crumb for the stick arms, and you really won't have to do this because it doesn't really show that much. I kind of go off the line so that it does show a little bit. Gives you the illusion that they're really sticks. And then I'm going to use the light navy for the, again, I like to use my brush tip. I'm not paying attention. Going to use the light navy to color the scarf, and I do find that these do dry really quickly, and when they dry they are lighter. They dry a little bit lighter, and like I said, the pattern in the scarf peeks through that dark color. Even though it's a dark color blue, you can still see the lines through there. And then I go back with my dark navy and just kind of hit a few spots to give it a little bit of extra dimension. And this will all dry a little bit darker. All right, so there's my snowman. And then we did the greeting. Now, you can see that I have a little mat, and earlier I cut out the same die out of the Night of Navy cardstock, and what I did here was I just take a scissors and cut this in half lengthwise, and I didn't really get that even, but that'll be fine. And then I'm going to take my Stampin' Seal. Let me get my, I don't know where my, here it is, sorry, I should have been prepared. I like to stick this silicone sheet underneath it because I'm going to go off the edge. Actually, you know what? I'm going to put them together, see if that, well, I don't know if that'll work. Just going to run along here with my Stampin' Seal, and then on this other piece, make sure you're doing the pieces that would be in the middle. Okay, and then this just is going to peek This is really sticky. They're sticking to each other. Okay, so this is just going to stick. Probably can't see that with the mat there. Just so that a little bit of it is showing on both sides. Okay. And that gives you a mat, and that's kind of crooked, so I'm going to probably redo that before I actually attach it to my card. All right, so here's my card front. Now, when I made this card, I actually was covering up a boo-boo of some ink. I really thought I wanted the snowman on this side and the Christmas wishes here. So that's what I'm going to do this time. And I used dimensionals. For that, I put on pretty many of these so that it doesn't flop down in the middle. So I have 5 on there. And like I said, I'm going to put this on this side of the trees. And then I'm going to redo that to get it straight. It's hard to do it with the camera above me. So there's that. Which way do you like it better? Okay, now let me show you the other cards that I made using this stamp set. This is one that I made for a swap that I'm in with some other demonstrators. I used crumb cake, shaded spruce, and then I colored with my watercolor pencils with the white to make it look like the snow. And I actually colored this snowman with my watercolor pencils instead of blends. And then I did that on the inside. So I really like that one. The snowman has popped up. Here's a similar one. I used the crumb cake, but I put a red mat behind it, and then of course made the scarf red, crumb cake base. I popped up the trees and the snowman, and then I don't know if you can see, I ripped some white paper to make it look like snowdrifts, and I used the Shimmer Crystal Effects. This is in the annual catalog. And it's kind of adds a little bit of shimmer and dimension on the edge of that snowdrift. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. And then here's one I made with designer's paper. And the trees are stamped off in there behind Pool Party. This is using the rectangle framelits to cut them out. And then I used the Pool Party for the scarf and hat there. And then I stamped on the inside of that card. I don't think I got to the inside of this one yet. And then I was trying to use every stamp in the set, and so I came up with this one for the wreath to make it look like a front door. And then this is the flocked paper that's in the holiday catalog. I had the kind of door that has like a window there. I thought that kind of looked like a window. And then I put the inside greeting there. Thought that was kind of cute. I did find this on Pinterest. I had to go way back to 2012 to find that one, nice and simple. And then this is the one that I told you I made using the dies. I don't know if you can see that. It made an impression in there. And then I did it down here on this specific point. And then this is Highland Heather, and the card opens up like this. And I feel like something's missing here. I think I need to add something here, either the greeting or some embellishments, a little bit plain. But I saw this card on Pinterest, and I was picking up the colors in there from the paper. And I also wanted to try that impressions die. So there you go. I'm still making cards with this set. I really think it's a cute, cute, cute set. And I hope you'll give it a try. And thanks for stopping by.